Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Roland. Today I want to continue talking about a short and very easy method of prayer that everyone can practice. That's the title of the book by Madame Jeanne Guyon. I have the book right here in French. It's the French version right here. And in French the title is Le moyen court est très facile de faire oraison que tous peuvent pratiquer très aisément et arriver par là dans peu de temps à une haute perfection. Okay, you can arrive at a high perfection in a very short amount of time. Now let's talk about this book. In English it's called has various titles like Finding God Through Prayer, Experiencing the Depths of Jesus Christ. It's a spiritual classic. And today I want to talk about what she has to say about contemplation. See, that the basic idea, the basic framework within which she was working in her faith practice that she was a part of was that there are it was said there are two ways of reaching God. One way is through meditation, the other way through contemplation. They just came up with some arbitrary definitions. Meditation would be, in their terminology, would be perhaps getting a little bit of scripture or a very nice spiritual writing and reading it, and then upon reading it, then contemplate what you had just read. Okay? And then the other way, which was considered a higher way, or a better way actually, was contemplation, which was simply coming into the presence of God without trying to read anything or think about any particular thing. Just come into the presence of God to enjoy His presence. Okay? Well, so let me read a little bit something for you here. Let me find my reference here. Here's what she has to say about, she calls it the prayer of simplicity. And she's talking about contemplation. Here's what she has to say. I'm reading from a translation of her book, which is found in a book that was published a long time ago called Spiritual Progress. And here's what she has to say. Some call the second degree of prayer contemplation, the prayer of faith and stillness. And others call it the prayer of simplicity. I shall here use the latter appellation as being more just than that of contemplation, which implies a more advanced state than that I am now treating of. So she just wants to call it the prayer of simplicity. She wants to get rid of the idea of advanced, okay? Because it's a prayer of simplicity. Here's what she says. When the soul has been for some time exercised in the way I have mentioned, it gradually finds that it is enabled to approach God with facility. In other words, when a person develops the habit of becoming still, okay, becoming still in the present, and recollecting oneself, or recollecting the soul, or pulling the soul back, pulling the soul in, standing back from thoughts, standing back from the things of the world, standing back from feelings. Okay? In other words, becoming an observer. Remember in one of my previous videos on chapter 2, I made a series of 4 excellent video lectures on chapter 2 from this book, which I encourage you to go to my YouTube videos and look for that It's actually a playlist now. But I said that, remember when you were a little child and you went somewhere with Mommy and Daddy, and you were sitting in the back seat of the car, and maybe Daddy was driving and Mommy and Daddy were there and they were talking perhaps, but you were in the back seat and you looked out the window and you saw many wonderful things, people and trees and cars and houses and all kinds of lights and all kinds of wonderful things, and you just observed them, you watched them. Okay? Well, that's what we must learn to be in life. We must learn to be the observer in life. Okay? You're always, see, the ego, our prideful self, we're always trying to make something happen. See? We can't just enjoy, we have to make something happen. Or we have to comment on it, or we have to study it. Or we have, see, it's ruined. I'll never forget, I heard a story, and the devil and his minions, some of his minions, were trying to corrupt a person. And the minions kept coming back, or in other words, the devil's assistants kept coming back. Oh, we've tried everything. We've tried to seduce him with alcohol and drugs and promiscuity, and we've tried money, and we've tried everything, and nothing seems to be working. The guy's just too good. The devil said, well, you're using the wrong approach. Here's what you do. You whisper in his mind to go for a walk. Okay? And then, as he's going for the walk, you say, you tempt him into thinking, well, the reason I'm going for a walk is to get exercise, or I'm going to for this walk to lose weight, or I'm going for this walk to look better, or I'm going to, coming up with some reason, some goal, some selfish purpose, for the walk, and it ruins it. And he said, that's how you'll begin to corrupt this person. Well, that's the way our egos are. We go through the world, we're always trying to mess with everything and change everything and study everything and figure everything out and change other people. See, it's a trap. See, it's a temptation. That person becomes a temptation, and when they sense that you're trying to change them, then they will dig in their heels and they will rebel against your trying to change them. Okay, and then they can therefore tease you by not changing. See what I mean? Or they can pretend to change but not really change. You got the idea. You have to learn to go through life as an observer. So what she's saying is that the soul, when it recollects itself, when it develops, it learns how to become still, to sit still and become quiet and recollect itself. Okay? Then it finds it easier and easier to do that. Okay? And that prayer, and she calls it a prayer, becomes easy, sweet, and delightful. See, if you could learn to sit still, that's almost like calling upon God, isn't it? Instead of your ego trying to make something happen, you sit quietly and wait for God to make something known to you. See what I mean? Or you quietly just wait upon God. Okay? That's like a prayer. Or you come to God empty. See, you don't know what to say. Okay? You want to live right, you don't know how to live right. You want to do the right thing by your family, you don't know how to do the right. Everything you've tried, you've always messed everything up. See, you want to give up your bad habits and so on, and you've tried, and every time you tried, it didn't work. It just got worse. So now you come before God and you're just still. And you feel helpless. Okay? And you admit to him that you're helpless. And you wait upon God. Okay? So that's like a prayer. And she says, and that prayer becomes easy, sweet, and delightful. It recognizes that this is the true way of finding God, and feels that his name is an ointment poured forth. She's quoting a verse from the Bible. The method must now be altered, and that which I describe must be pursued with courage and fidelity, without being disturbed at the difficulties we may encounter in the way. First, as soon as the soul, now she says it must be altered. So here's what she's saying. So she says, now the soul has been able to find a way of sitting in quietly, being still, calling upon God. She says, now, as soon as the soul by faith places itself in the presence of God and becomes recollected, in other words, standing back from thoughts, standing back from feelings, being the observer of feelings, the observer of thought. Okay? Let it remain thus for a little time in respectful silence. Okay? And then she says, after spending a little time thusly, okay, to then at the end spend a little bit more time in silence. She says, but if at the beginning in forming the act of faith it feels some little pleasing sense of the divine presence, let it remain there without being troubled for a subject. In other words, don't try to think of something or come up with some plan for studying the Bible or something. Just quietly enjoy being in reality, in the present, in God's presence in the present. And proceed no farther, but carefully cherish this sensation while it continues. When it abates, it may excite the will by some tender affection. And if, by the first moving thereof, it finds itself reinstated in sweet peace, let it there remain. In other words, let the soul there remain. The fire must be gently fanned, but as soon as it is kindled, we must cease our efforts, lest we extinguish it by our activity. See? So it's like an inner flame, an inner light, okay, that burns forever. Okay? But you don't want to mess with it. See? You don't want to try to make something happen. You don't want to grab onto some feeling and try to keep it, or some realization that you have, or some beautiful thought, and try to hang on to it and study it and analyze it and spout it to other people to impress them or anything. The ego always tries to take over every little simple thing, and then it ruins it. Okay? So just cherish that moment of quietness. Okay? And that flame, that little flame that's beginning to grow within you, okay, from God. Let it delicately glow, and just cherish that moment. Okay? Well, I think I've read enough for today from Madame Guyon's book, A Short and Very Easy Method of Prayer. And I certainly hope that you enjoyed today's little talk. I do have a meditation. Okay? Now, my terminology is just a little different, see, than theirs. What their terminology was way back then. When I say meditation, I don't mean to have some writing before you and to look at that writing. What I mean is to become still. So really, when I say meditation, I'm more talking about practicing contemplation. Going in a room, closing the door, sitting in a chair, becoming still. The way I do it, I say to close your eyes and become aware of your hands. Okay? Just notice your hands exist. Feel your hands. See? Or feel one hand, your right hand. Just notice your right hand. Maybe notice one finger at a time. Your first finger. Notice your second finger. Notice your third finger with your eyes closed. Feel your finger. Feel a little tingly warm. It becomes a little tingly and a little tingly warm when you notice it. Or you could notice both hands, okay? And at the same time, with your eyes closed, you see the little pixels of light on the inside of your eyelids. So you're looking at the inside of your eyelids. You see a little glow of light there. Little patterns of light, little pixels of light. You're looking at the inside of your eyelids. You see the little pixels of light. Delicate little glow of light. And at the same time, you're aware of your hands. Okay? Or your hand. And an easy way to be aware of your hand is to notice one finger at a time. It helps you to be aware of your hand. So notice your first finger, your second finger. Notice your third finger. Notice your third finger exists. Notice your fourth finger. Notice your fifth finger. Notice a little tingly sensation. Okay? So that's it. You look at the inside of your eyelids, see the little pixels of light. And when you do that, your thoughts are gone. All the plans and schemes and reliving the past and worrying about the future, and all of that, it's gone. You see the pixels of light on the inside of your eyelids, and you notice your hands, and you're in the present. Okay, maybe you can hear a bird sing, wind in the trees, which is nice. You hear something, it helps anchor you in the present. Okay? And then later, if you're sitting there, so you could do this for 5 minutes in the morning or even 10 minutes. Okay? But we'll say 5 minutes. First thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, as soon as you get up. Okay? So you just go find a chair or somewhere you can sit. And do the little exercise. And then you might find yourself drifting away with thoughts. In the morning especially, your thoughts are strong. There they are. All of a sudden, now you're thinking what you're going to do. Okay? Well, as soon as you notice that you're thinking what you're going to do, as soon as you notice that, your soul has recollected itself. Now you're standing back. You notice that thought, and now you look at the inside of your eyelids again. See? See how that works? Okay. And then you could do it at noon, 5 minutes, and in the evening for 5 minutes. And that's a little exercise. Okay? So it's like a prayer of, Madame Guyon calls it a prayer of simplicity. Okay? Prayer of simplicity. I call it a meditation. Meditation of simplicity. Okay? And then you'll have that a little distant feeling. Your soul is recollected, closer to God. Then you go out in the world, go to work, be a mom, dad, partner, whatever you do. But you'll carry that meditative, prayerful state with you. A prayerful state of mind. That's what it is, a prayerful state of mind. Okay? Meditative state of mind. You'll carry that with you, and you'll be a little bit distant. In other words, you can still have fun and be with people and do things, but you just won't be quite so close. You won't get pulled into things as much. Pulled in where you lose yourself. Okay? Now, if you start to get pulled into something, well, you'll notice that you're getting pulled in, and you'll be able to stand back. So that's a little meditation right there. Okay? You could actually go back earlier in this tape, stop this video, move back to where I started talking about this meditation, and you could practice it with my voice. Okay? Then if you want to hear it without the video, or just not this video, but somewhere else on the internet, or where you can download it, if you want to download it to your MP3 or something, then just go to easymeditation.tk or prayermeditation.tk or talktoapastor.org, okay, or sheddingshackles.net. Okay, they'll all work. Any of those will work. My name is Roland.